A ceasefire is now in effect in Gaza, following Israel's and Hamas's acceptance of a US-brokered deal. In a statement, the Israeli military says its troops have begun their partial withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, moving to new deployment lines and leaving some of the territory's most populated areas. Thousands of Palestinians are returning to their homes now, or the ruins of their homes. These are live pictures you're seeing of the Gaza Strip. Many Palestinians have been displaced multiple times in the two-year war that has cost tens of thousands of lives and has unleashed famine on the Palestinian territory. I'm joined now by Mohammed Shehada. He's a Palestinian writer and analyst from Gaza and a researcher at the European Council on Foreign Relations. Mohammed, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. Can I ask you, do you believe this deal will last?
I hope that it would last, but every single person that I've spoken to until now does not have this sort of optimism. You see Netanyahu immediately, as soon as the deal was signed, coming out and saying that they would be willing to demilitarize Gaza one way or another, the hard way or the easy way, which is a hint at going back with the military option. You saw ministers in Netanyahu's government exactly saying the same thing word for word, that they would drop out of government if Netanyahu ends the war in Gaza. So that is inviting a lot of concern. At the same time, there's some room for getting a fresh breath. It's like being drowned underwater for months and months and months. And now you have this short moment of respite that people are trying to maximize as much as possible, flood Gaza with aid to try to return to their homes in the north, to try to make life a little bit less unbearable. And it all falls down on President Trump, because as we saw, all it took was only one phone call to Netanyahu to force him to sign that deal that's been on the table since December 2023. It's been on the table for almost 2 years, the same deal. So it falls down on President Trump if he will make another phone call to tell Netanyahu that there is no going back to the war after the hostages are released.
You are from Gaza. Can I ask you what you're hearing from people there? I mean, do Gazans feel that they can move on while the Israeli army is still present in the Strip? Because Israeli soldiers are still there, aren't they?
Well, since this morning, every single person that I've spoken to, the first thought on their mind was to open the web, social media, and Google the names of their neighborhoods until they have the chance to go there. And every video that have shown up since then shows absolutely nothing left. And the vast majority of that destruction was not the result of battles or combat. It was the result of systematic, methodical annihilation of the urban space. Israeli bulldozers going in and destroying homes one after the other. But on the other side, Palestinians have gone through a similar experience in the Nakba in 1948. My grandfather was kicked out with his entire family to Gaza, to a sand area on the beach, and all they had was a tent. They managed to make a living. The Nobel Prize for chemistry was just awarded to a Palestinian refugee who grew up in Amman in similar conditions, without water, without electricity, in an overcrowded room that he shared with his siblings and the family's cattle and livestock. There is a will in Gaza to live. Most people there, they want the place to be livable again, and they want to make the best out of it. The idea of leaving is crossing the minds of people in desperate need for medical evacuation or educational opportunities, but the vast majority of people there are determined to stay.
It will take decades to rebuild Gaza. We can see from the pictures that we're looking at right now the level of destruction. What future do you see for Gaza, Mohammed, and for the Palestinian people?
The immediate future, the first thought that crossed my mind when the deal was signed is the slightest prospect that I personally can go back to Gaza to rebuild my father's grave, give a proper burial to my closest friends that were murdered one after the other throughout this genocide, join rescue missions to find 15,000 people stuck under the rubble of their homes. It's going to take years for Gazans to grieve and mourn the dead, not just the bodies that have been accounted for, but the tens of thousands of bodies that have gone missing. So that's number one. Number two, you need a process of healing that entails an element of reconciliation, truth, and justice, without which the trauma would be too overwhelming and destabilizing to whatever status quo will be created after. And that healing process, it doesn't take Palestinians on their own trying to look forward, but it needs a Palestinian-Israeli element. It needs a Palestinian-Jewish element to look at the shared experience that we and our Jewish sisters and brothers have of an intimate experience of pain, disposition, violence, and oppression. And that can be a strong motivation to prevent those tragedies from happening to the rest of our loved ones.
We're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your time. Mohammed Shehada, writer and analyst from Gaza. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
We're joined now by Yehuda Cohen. He's the father of the Israeli hostage Nimrod Cohen, who is still in Gaza. Welcome, Yehuda. All remaining hostages are due to be released in the coming days. How are you feeling right now?
Well, we're on the verge of getting a specific information of time and location where we will meet our son Nimrod. We started counting the 72 hours, so it's about 70 hours to go.
Do you know anything at all about how your son Nimrod is? When was the last time you heard anything about him?
Well, last time we got any meaningful information was end of February, where two of his two hostages were released. Two hostages who were with him a long period of time were released. Of course, a long time passed since then, about 8 months. We hope the condition at least stayed the same. We'll know the minute, the second we'll see Nimrod, hoping it will be any minute, any hour. We're waiting for a call to get the specific time. Assumption will be that Hamas will delay it as much as possible. So we're looking towards the end of Sunday, beginning of Monday.
So just a couple of days. Do you think, Yehuda, about the moment when you see your son again? Have you thought about what you're going to do, what you're going to say to him?
First of all, the space will be let to Nimrod's mother, my wife Vicky. She will be the first one to hug him. After that, I really don't know. We're going to hug him. We're going to talk to him. We're going to let him lead the way. We don't know in what condition we will see him after 2 years. We'll let things go along. It's a difficult question, I must say.
I understand. This ceasefire deal, which is allowing the release of the hostages, is not a peace deal. Do you believe that the Israeli government wants to see an actual end to this war and a peace deal?
Well, I will say more than that. The Israeli government, Netanyahu's government more precisely, didn't want the war to end. We know precisely that this plan was forced on Netanyahu. Actually forced on Netanyahu, well, 2 years too late, but finally, maybe not from the good reasons, it happened. We know that Netanyahu used this war for his political and personal survival. We have a lot of criticism on Netanyahu. I see Netanyahu as a traitor to the country of Israel. He was the one that was feeding Hamas before the 7th of October. He was the one that ignoring all warnings of any attack. And he was the one that was using the attack, the heinous attack of Hamas on Israel for his continuous political survival. And that's why he didn't want to finish this war. As been said before, the person who talked before me, he said this deal could have been reached long ago. He was talking about December 23. More or less, yes, he's right. It could have been done much sooner than it was done. It was all political interest of Netanyahu. It was somewhere the weakness of Biden, and after Trump came into position, it was more a supporting position Trump put on Netanyahu until the point his interest shifted elsewhere. Well, he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, but he did get pressure from Arabic states. He did noticed the shift in public opinion in the United States, including his people, the MAGA people. So finally, it came to that point, and the plan, which was obvious, which could have been done much sooner, went into action. And I hope that this thing will go through further than releasing my son, further than releasing all the hostages. The ceasefire will be secured, will turn to a permanent ceasefire. We will see the IDF going out of Gaza. We will see Hamas going out of Gaza, demilitarized, and we will see Palestinian Authority personnel going into Gaza, so we can get to the end. And the end is a two-state solution. Nothing different than that. It's an Israeli interest, and I'm talking as an Israeli patriot. I live in Israel. All my life was in Israel. My family in Israel. My house, my work is in Israel. I want, for the security of Israel, first of all, to get rid of this heinous government, Netanyahu's government, and then see that we'll go through to the last point, which is a two-state solution.
Yehuda, you speak of a lasting peace. Of course, once the hostages, once your son is at home, a period of healing will be necessary, both for you, for the Israeli people, for Palestinians. Do you believe that there is a way to move forward, to heal, and to coexist in peace?
Of course, there is a way. It's only a matter of wanting it to happen. It's only a matter of enough people on both sides want it to happen, to get a solution, not by eliminating the other, by compromising. This is a two-state solution, meaning that the Israelis will permit, I don't know the right word, but will push forward for a Palestinian state with security to Israel, and the Palestinians will go for a Palestinian state without a threat to the Israeli nation. That means terrorist organization out, settlers and extremists on our side out, and Palestinians and Israelis working for a joint target, which is living side by side as two countries with recognized international borders.
Yehuda Cohen, father of hostage Nimrod Cohen. Yehuda, thank you so much for talking to us, and we wish you all the very best for the coming days.